Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back. Today I'm going to be walking you through this look step by step. This is a very dramatic icy blue makeup look. It's perfect for this time of year. This is something that you could whip out for a holiday party. You could whip it out for New Year's or just a Saturday. So I hope you guys like this video. I'm going to walk you through it step by step and give you all of my tips and tricks. I'm going to walk you through how to create more of this elongated effect and give you more of that, you know, just that winged almond shape rather than something more rounded like I normally do. So I hope you guys like this video. Please subscribe and let's get started. So before we get started, I did up the brightness on my video. Let me know if you like this better. I had a couple comments saying that it was getting pretty dark. My only concern with brightening it is that I can tend to overexpose and then I blend in with the background because I'm so pale. Also with product shots, sometimes if you have it brighter for overall, then the products are washed out. So you just let me know if you like it like this better or a little darker, you let me know. I'm gonna start with primer. This is the Pat McGrath primer. I've been using this a lot recently. I really like it. It just gives a nice, I don't want to say it doesn't give a nice finish, but it just feels nice when you apply it. Kind of just feels like a nice moisturizer. I'm gonna apply this all over my skin. I'm excited to do a more navy look today. I feel like I don't really ever do navy looks. I've done a couple in the past, but it's been a while. And I love cool tone looks. I just don't really do navy a lot. So for foundation today, I'm gonna use the Anastasia Luminous foundation. This is one of my favorites. I have 220N in the color. I'm just gonna apply this on the back of my brush and stipple it on my skin. Don't mind my extensions. I'm past due to get them moved up, so they just want to stick right out and it drives me insane. I haven't used this foundation by itself in such a long time and it gives such a nice color. So I self-tanned a couple days ago, so it's kind of fading and this is like the perfect color for my skin tone right now. And then for concealer, I'm using the Pat McGrath Concealer. This is just my favorite. I feel like the color is really perfect for my skin tone. This is shade LM9. Make it any blemishes. I've had this pimple on my neck for like a freaking month. It does not want to go away. It's just like in the process of healing and it's taking 10 years to go away. This is my favorite brush for concealer. It's the F03 from Sigma. It's technically for highlighting, I believe, but I love it for concealer. So it has been 5 million years exactly since I've used this, but this is the Fenty Cream Bronzer in Macchiato. Ooh, actually, I won't be using this. This is like, oh, that's gross. Oh, we are throwing this out. Didn't look like that last time I used it. It's been like since the spring that I've used this. So that's just gonna have to get tossed. I'll have to get a new one. Maybe I'll use the NUDESTIX Bronzer. This is in the color Bondi Bay. It's just like a little cream bronzing stick. I'm just gonna pick it up on my brush and stipple this on the skin right here. Bring it up on the forehead. Usually just focus it towards the sides and then just a hint on the center. It's nice having darker roots because then I can just work this into my hairline. When my hair was like platinum blonde, that was a no-no. I tried to avoid that because it will tint that hair and it won't come out until you like wash your hair. So now it's nice because I can just get up in there. I'm gonna bring this right here on the nose and under the lips and then just use my finger to blend it in. And then I'm just adding a little bit of powder and just set everything in place. And now I'm gonna go into the Laura Lee Los Angeles Blush Aesthetic palette. Do you see how bright this is in here? You can't even see this now. There we go. Now I got it to kind of focus on it. I have to hold it like this, otherwise it washes out. But this is the inside, what the palette looks like. Just a bunch of beautiful blush shades. I think I'm going to mix Bridal Pink with Peach Fuzz. Even though I'm doing more cool tones on the eyes, these are more neutral to warm, but I kind of like doing that, mixing up my warm and cool tones. I'm just going to apply this on the cheeks, add some color back into the face, bring it up here and on the neck. And then for highlighter, I'm gonna use the Step Right Up one from MAC. This is just my go-to right now, especially for this time of year. It just makes me feel very Christmassy. So I'm gonna apply this with my F35 from Sigma right here on the cheekbones. I'm gonna grab a little brush and apply it right to the middle of my nose and then blend that out. For my brows, I'm gonna use the Brow Stylist Definer from L'Oreal. I have this in the color Brunette. I used this yesterday and I really like the color. I forgot about this product. It's a really, really good brow pencil. So I'm gonna start filling them in from far away. I do need to touch up my tint. I still haven't done that yet, but I'll be doing that probably this weekend. Fill this in here, do the bottom, and then do the top, and fill in between. And then I'm gonna go into the e.l.f. brow gel in neutral brown. It's got a really small little spoolie, and I'm just gonna run this through my brows and really fluff them up. Do about 2 coats. I'm gonna prime my eyes. I'm gonna use the Painterly Paint Pot from MAC. I'm just going over my lids with my powder brush just to make sure everything's set in place and ready for the eyeshadow. Okay, so to start out, I'm actually gonna use a warmer shadow, even though this is gonna be an overall cool tone look. This is Creme Brulee from Makeup Geek. It's one of my, it's probably like the most used eyeshadow that I use, just because with any look, you could totally go in with this shade. If you're a different skin tone than me, just use a shade that's close to your skin tone, but just a little bit darker. So that's what this is. It's basically my skin tone, and actually it looks lighter than my skin tone right now, but I just have like 10 pounds of bronzer on. But when I build this up, it will create depth and dimension in my crease and just kind of give a little bit of warmth in there right away. So I'm gonna take this on a fluffy brush, just start mapping out the look. So because the look that I'm doing is gonna be more winged out, I'm gonna work on creating the illusion of a wing right at the beginning. So if you take your brush to the corner of your nose and the corner of your eye, that is the angle that I'm gonna try to go for. So I'm gonna take this right here and just kind of start flicking it upwards and then into the eye look to create that outer V, like that. See how it's already kind of creating that tapered shape. When you first go in with this color, you don't want to put the majority of the color right out here, because then it's going to be really clunky out here with the eyeshadow. You want it to wisp out there. So if I'm going to put this on my eye right now, I'm going to keep it in the look right in here and then flick it out and then flick it from here. Flick, 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 flick. Putting the pressure here and flicking out, putting the pressure here and flicking out. And then once the majority of the product is off, then you can build it up more out there. But especially when you're first doing it, you don't want to put too much of your shadow out here, because then it's not gonna taper out and disappear. It's gonna be like a big chunk of eyeshadow out there. I'm also gonna bring this in the crease and start kind of blending this onto the lid. Also bring this underneath. And now I'm gonna go into the color Bedrock from Makeup Geek. This is a very true gray shade. And I'm gonna use this brush. This is the Wayne Goss number 20 brush. It's really tiny. And I'm just gonna pick this up on here and start creating that winged effect. So I'm gonna get really close to my mirror here just because I want to be able to see what I'm doing. So I'm gonna go on that same angle, but I'm gonna follow the bottom lash line rather than where the top lash line ends. And the reason why is because this is the tiniest bit lower. If you take it too high, at least for me, it just ends up disappearing in my eye. And if you have hooded eyelids, this is a good tip for you as well, because if you follow the lower lash line, it's just going to work better on the face. Pretty much for most eye shapes, if you follow that lower lash line rather than the top, it'll end up working out a lot easier. So I'm gonna hold back on the brush pretty far, follow that lower lash line and go upwards and create that line. See how it's just like the softest, yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Take a little bit more, kind of start flicking it upwards, kind of building up onto that color, and make sure not to bring too much color out here towards the tip. You want to stop a little shy of that. Okay, and now I'm going to do the same exact thing with the same color, but I'm switching to a smaller brush. This is the L06 from Sigma. It's a lip brush technically, but it's my favorite brush for doing this step. So I'm doing the same thing, creating this little wing here, following that lower lash line. This is just going to deepen it and make it a little bit more precise. You can always just take your finger and kind of wipe it away or sharpen it up without going too crazy if you need to. And now we're gonna start adding more of the blue. So this came in a stack, and I'm pretty sure this is now an eyeshadow palette. It's not just in the stacks like they had them. This was the blueprint stack from Melt. The color I'm gonna use is Dim Out, this one here. So I have this up on Beauty Bay. It's actually 30% off at the time that I'm filming this, but it comes in a palette now. I just have it in a stack form, and this color that I'm about to use is in this palette. So I'll link it down below if you're curious, but it's just like this bright cobalt blue, and I'm gonna use the matte color. That same little brush, do the same thing and just kind of go over that. So start here. Woohoo! This is pigmented and it is blue. Oh, so beautiful. So making sure all of the pigment is here, and then I'm kind of flicking it here. I'm not putting too much pressure over here. Just kind of floop, floop. I'm gonna start blending it in towards the top lash line. So take this here. Just kind of stamping it right on the lash line. And we can start building up that little triangle to create a wing without bringing it too far over here. So just lightly, little by little, adding on to this. So now I'm gonna go into Dragonfly from Anastasia, and use that little fluffy brush. This is actually shimmery, which I feel like kind of helps with the matte blue, because blue can tend to be a little bit tricky to blend out, and I feel like the shimmer just kind of helps break it up. And I'm just gonna go right on the edge here and start buffing out the edge. Make sure to really tap off the excess, because you don't want to get any fallout. If you do, just make sure you powdered ahead of time, because I got a little bit of fallout and I can just dust it away. Go right at the edge here and just start kind of buffing out that line, because you want the line to be sharp here and then just kind of diffuse and fluff out. If you end up going a little bit too in the crease and creating more of a dramatic rounded effect, I can tend to do that just because that's what I'm so used to, but with looks like these, I really have to consciously think of doing this sort of movement with the brush and going more in diagonals rather than circles. If you end up doing that, just grab any kind of brush and put a little bit of face powder on it and just brighten up the crease a little bit so that it doesn't get too rounded in there. I know that's very specific and probably only for a select few of us that tend to go in circles, but yeah, that just helps me when doing looks like this. So I do have this eyeliner. This is the Makeup Forever Deep Sea color eyeliner. These are not sharpenable with a regular sharpener. I have tried to sharpen these so many times on accident. It's a sharpener here, but this actually cranks up and down. Right here, it actually moves up and back down. So don't sharpen these or try to sharpen these because you'll mess up your pencil. Just keep that in mind. But I think I'm gonna take this right on the edge here, right at the lash line, and go right along here and just kind of add this in. It'll make it a little bit more dramatic. And then you can go in with that liner brush and just kind of pick it up directly on the liner and then just go over it. It'll just make everything a little bit more bold. And then you can go over that with the other colors. So right now I'm using that blueprint stack, just the tiniest bit of that blue because it's so intense. I'm just going to buff this out. It's all about just like little by little, adding a little here and a little there just to give that gradient effect. Okay, I'm taking those two shades that I started with, Creme Brulee and Bedrock from Makeup Geek, mixing them together, and I'm just connecting from here at a diagonal going this way and then looping it in right here just so I get a little bit of roundness here, but then it stays straight and angular in here, so it just goes whoop right in here and then down. I'm ready to add some sparkle. So I did get some requests for a matte navy look. If you want this to be matte, just stop right here. You don't have to go on and add any shimmer, but I want some sparkle. So I'm gonna go into this product from e.l.f. I don't know the name of like the product itself. It's just one of these like glitter stick things. This is in the color Disco Queen, and then it just opens up like this. I hope this isn't dried out because I got this last year. So I'm gonna take this right on my lid, right here, mainly right on the front part of the lid, Then I'm gonna grab my finger and start kind of shearing it out. So to do that, I'm just pressing it instead of moving it around. I'm just pressing it in and then wiping it on my hand. And you see it kind of gave a little bit more of a sheerness to it. So now I can go in with a little bit more. You could, to make this easier, you could just go in with a brush. Okay, I'm just going in with my face highlighter and I'm highlighting my brow bone. Okay, I kind of think that I want to make this just a little bit more dramatic. I'm scared though. I'm bringing more of this blue here in the outer to make it just a little bit more dramatic. And then I'm blending that out. I think we're gonna do it. We're gonna add a little inner corner action. I'm gonna grab the liner and just pick it up here on this brush. And then I'm gonna make sure it's extra precise because it is a little fluffed out from using it. I'm just gonna wipe it off like this to make sure it's extra thin. Then I'm gonna create the little inner corner dealio. For the inner corner, it's the opposite that we did for the outer corner. So for this one, I'm following the end of the upper and it basically just goes straight, and you wanna do like 10 times less than you think that you need to. I think because we're so used to going in and creating a wing, we think that this is the opposite, at least I do. So if you think it's just like a little, just a little right there in the inner corner, then you're gonna have that nice dramatic inner corner, and it always looks a million times longer anyways because we have the wing over here, which is just kind of complementing the inner and makes it look even longer. I'm gonna take that liner and just take a little bit of it right here in the outer lid, like the tiniest little bit, just so that kind of connects there. Blend that there. I think I'm gonna take those first two shades from Makeup Geek, very lightly put this right under the lash line. Just right here, kind of connecting the outer and inner wings, giving a little bit of definition. Before I go in with anything else on the eyes, because I'm gonna do mascara and lashes, I wanna use the Fenty How Many Carats little glitter highlighter. I have to use this every year around this time of year. It's so beautiful. So I'm gonna pick this up here and just boop, boop, boop. Pop it right there just to add a little bit of sparkle. Just always have to add this around this time of year. Okay, I'm applying mascara, but I'm keeping the inner part pretty blank and just really focusing on this outer part to kind of go with that whole effect. Okay, I'm applying these lashes. I just took some of the Ardell Wispies and cut them up so I could create the shape that I wanted. Ardell Wispies are more of a rounded lash, so they do fan out like this, and I'm going for more of that winged effect. So I did chop it up and I took the center out, and I'm using that as the outer corner, and I'm placing it a little bit higher than my lash line to go with that whole winged out look. And now I'm taking the inner corner of the lash and popping it right on the center. And then I won't even put anything over here. I'll just kind of leave that blank so it just kind of goes up like that. I'm gonna grab my Extended Play Mascara from MAC, and I'm just gonna add a little bit to the bottom. I don't want too much, mainly doing the outer part and then just lightly hitting the rest just so there's some definition. I wanted to use a KKW Nude lip liner, but they're still out of stock and her website's still down. It's been down for months. So I'm gonna use something else. My favorite, if you have it, is for like a look like this would be Nude 1 from KKW, but I'm pretty sure that one I'm about to use is gonna be pretty similar. It's just this is more expensive. So when these are restocked, I hopefully will remember and link it down below because this would be the best option. But I'm gonna use this instead. This is the color Bear from Melt Cosmetics, and it's just a really good nude lip pencil. So I'm going to line and overline my lips. I'm actually gonna start on the Cupid's bow today. Overlining right here, and then connecting it to my lip line here. So I'm really overlining from here to here. It's this little section. Following my lip line on the bottom. And then I'm just gonna overline on the bottom right in the center, right here, just a little bit. And then for my lipstick today, I'm gonna go over it with Bitch Perfect from Charlotte Tilbury. I feel like I haven't used this in forever on camera, but this is one of my favorite lipsticks. It's a nice kind of like peachy light nude. And it has a little bit of a sheen to it, just a nice soft sheen. Okay, and that is the final look. I really love this look. I feel like this is very perfect for this time of year. You could use this for a holiday party. You could use this for New Year's. If you want this to be a little bit less glam, just don't do the sparkles and keep it matte. This is basically like my fox eye tutorial. I'll link that down below as well as up in the info cards in case you haven't seen it. But basically, that is the same technique that I used in this video. It's just using neutral shades. So if you like this look, but it's just a little bit too dramatic for you, a little out of your comfort zone, you could totally do this with neutrals, and make sure you check out that video because I walk you through it step by step and go through so many different tips and tricks for creating a fox eye winged out look like this to create more of just like an almond shape. I'm normally a round eye shape with my eyeshadow, but this is definitely more of that almondy shape, more winged and dramatic out like that. So I hope you guys like this video. I hope you enjoyed seeing how I got the look and seeing what my tips and tricks were for creating it. Please let me know what other videos you'd like to see down below in the comments. Please subscribe and I will see you soon. Bye.